I never imagined that the people I loved most could hurt me this deeply. My own daughter-in-law had built walls around my grandchildren, and every attempt I made to reach them was met with cold silence. I felt powerless, heartbroken, and invisible in the life I had once helped build. But little did she know, my son was about to change everything. I remember the first time I met my grandchildren after my son's wedding. I had been waiting for months, counting the days, imagining their little faces, their laughter, the tiny hands I would hold. But when I arrived at their home, my daughter-in-law's expression froze me in place. "Oh, you're here," she said, her tone polite but icy. "But today isn't a good day." I forced a smile, trying to hide the sting in my chest. "Of course. Maybe another time," I said softly, hoping she didn't notice my disappointment. Weeks turned into months. Every phone call I made was met with excuses. Every visit was declined. Slowly, the joy I had imagined melted into frustration and heartbreak. My son, my only child, seemed caught in the middle, torn between his wife and his mother. At first, I tried reasoning with her. I sent gifts, cards, even home-cooked meals for the children, hoping that my efforts would show her that I only wanted to be part of their lives. But every gesture was ignored, every attempt dismissed. There were moments I almost broke down completely. I remember sitting alone in my living room, clutching a picture of my son as a child, remembering the days when I could hold him in my arms and hear his laughter echo in the house. And now, that joy had been stolen from me. The loneliness weighed heavy. Every social event, every family gathering, I watched other grandparents embrace their grandchildren, laugh with them, share memories, while I was left outside, a silent observer of a life I had once been part of. One evening, after yet another failed attempt to see my grandchildren, I confided in a close friend. "I don't know what I've done wrong," I said, my voice trembling. "I only ever loved them. And yet, she won't even let me speak to them. I feel erased." My friend put a hand on mine. "Sometimes," she said gently, "the ones who try to hurt us the most don't realize the walls they're building. But maybe it's time your son saw it too." Her words stayed with me. I loved my son, and I knew he had been patient, hoping that his wife would eventually soften. But seeing him caught between us, struggling with his loyalty, made my heart ache even more. I realized that I needed his support, not in anger, not in confrontation, but in understanding and action. Then, one fateful afternoon, everything began to change. My son called me unexpectedly. His voice was firm yet careful, a tone I hadn't heard in years. "Mom, I need to talk to you about something important. Can you come over?" My heart raced. Could this be the moment I had been waiting for? Could he finally see the truth, finally stand by me? I arrived at his home, unsure what to expect, but desperate for some kind of resolution. He greeted me at the door, his expression serious. "Mom, I've been thinking a lot about what's been happening, about how my wife has been treating you and how it's affecting all of us." I held my breath, afraid of hope. "What do you mean?" I asked softly. "I mean," he said, taking a deep breath, "you're my mother. You're my children's grandmother. And no one has the right to take that from you. I've tried to stay neutral, but I can't anymore. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to them." Tears filled my eyes. After months of rejection, neglect, and heartbreak, I felt a small spark of hope flicker inside me. My son, my own son, was finally acknowledging the truth. "I don't want to fight," he continued. "But things can't stay this way. You love them, and they love you. That's what matters." For the first time in months, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It was not just hope, it was validation. My love for my grandchildren was real, and my son finally recognized it. But as relief washed over me, I knew that the hardest part was yet to come. My daughter-in-law wouldn't let this go easily. She had built her walls for a reason, and breaking them would take courage, patience, and a carefully thought-out plan. That evening, my son and I talked for hours. He promised me something that night that would change everything. He would step in, not with anger, but with love, honesty, and firmness. Together, we would reclaim the bond that had been denied. Little did my daughter-in-law know, her days of keeping me away from my grandchildren were numbered. The next morning, my son called his wife into the living room. I could hear their voices from the kitchen, low and tense. My heart pounded in my chest. For months, I had felt powerless. But now, with my son by my side, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, hope. He started calmly, yet firmly. We need to talk about how things have been going. It's not okay for my mother to be kept away from her grandchildren. Her face hardened immediately. I'm just protecting my children, she said, her voice tight. I know what's best for them. I stepped forward, my voice trembling but steady. I only want to love them. I've never done anything to hurt them. I am their grandmother, and I deserve a place in their lives. She turned to me, and I saw a flicker of something in her eyes, anger, defensiveness, maybe even fear. But my son didn't back down. You have no right to make decisions about my children without me, he said firmly. Their grandmother loves them. She has always loved them. And I won't let anyone take that away. Her words came faster now, full of emotion. You don't understand. I just want to protect them from. From what? My son interrupted. From love? From family? From the people who care about them. His voice was calm but carried weight, the kind of voice that commands attention. You've been keeping them from someone who adores them, and it's not fair. Not to anyone. The room went quiet. I could feel my heart racing. My son had never spoken to her like this before. His strength and conviction were unshakable, and for the first time, she seemed to realize that this was serious. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, she whispered, almost to herself. You did, my son said gently but firmly. And now it's time to make things right. Mom isn't going anywhere. She is your children's grandmother, and you will not deny them her love. I watched as the tension in her shoulders slowly eased, replaced by a mixture of guilt and realization. She had tried to control the situation with coldness, but my son's courage and love had shattered that control. Over the next few days, the atmosphere changed. My son made sure that I could spend time with my grandchildren without interference. And slowly, she began to see that my love for them was genuine. The smiles, the laughter, and the little moments I shared with them were undeniable. It wasn't immediate forgiveness. Trust had to be rebuilt, but the walls she had built around my family were finally cracking. And I felt a sense of vindication, a quiet revenge not through anger or bitterness, but simply by reclaiming my rightful place in their lives. One afternoon, as I held my youngest grandchild in my arms, I looked over at my daughter-in-law. She was sitting quietly, watching us. There was no malice in her eyes this time, only reflection and perhaps a little shame. She realized that no matter what she had done, love could not be blocked forever. My son smiled at me across the room, a silent message passing between us. We did this together. That smile carried more satisfaction than any argument or confrontation ever could. And that day, I understood something important. Revenge doesn't always have to be loud or cruel. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply living in truth, letting love and patience shine, and watching those who tried to hurt you finally realize their mistakes. For the first time in months, our home was filled with laughter, warmth, and family. My grandchildren ran to me freely, holding my hands, climbing onto my lap, sharing stories of their days. And as I looked at my son, I knew that together, we had restored not just my bond with the children, but also the balance of our family. From that moment on, I promised myself something. I would never let anyone make me feel invisible again. And my family, my son, my grandchildren, and even my daughter-in-law would see that love, patience, and courage can overcome even the deepest walls. The morning after my son's firm but calm confrontation, I felt a mix of anxiety and hope. Would she truly change? Or would this just ignite another Cold War in the family? When I arrived at their home, the tension was palpable. My daughter-in-law's eyes darted nervously, avoiding mine. I could feel the walls she had built around my grandchildren starting to tremble. My son, standing beside me, held my hand and whispered, "Mom, stay strong. This is the moment we reclaim what's ours." She finally spoke, her voice sharp but shaky. I just don't think it's right for you to interfere in how I raise my children, she said, trying to mask her fear with authority. I looked at her calmly, my voice soft but unwavering. This isn't about interfering. This is about love, about family, about the bond that belongs to us all. My grandchildren are my heart. Denying me that love doesn't protect them, it hurts all of us. My son stepped forward, his tone firm yet respectful. Mom has always loved you. She's never tried to replace anyone. She only wants to be part of her grandchildren's lives. And honestly, I won't allow anyone to deny her that. She's my mother, and she's your children's grandmother. Her face turned pale. For the first time, I saw a crack in her icy demeanor. She had underestimated my son's loyalty, his sense of fairness, and his understanding of family. I could feel the shift immediately. The children, sensing the tension and the love surrounding them, ran into my arms without hesitation. Their laughter filled the room, a sound I had missed so deeply for months. Tears streamed down my face as I hugged them tightly. "I've missed you so much," I whispered, holding their tiny hands. "Nothing will ever keep us apart again." My daughter-in-law watched silently, and after a long pause, she sighed. I see now. I was wrong, she admitted, her voice quiet, almost ashamed. I let my fears and jealousy come between us. I didn't realize how much it was hurting everyone, especially you and the children. I smiled gently, choosing forgiveness over resentment. We all make mistakes. But family is about learning and coming back together. That's what matters. Over the next few weeks, the atmosphere in the house changed completely. My son and I spent more time with the grandchildren, playing games, reading stories, and creating memories that had been denied for far too long. And my daughter-in-law? She slowly began to soften, realizing that her attempts to control and isolate only pushed everyone away. In time, she learned to coexist, and even moments of shared laughter began to replace the walls she had once built. The real victory wasn't in proving her wrong, it was in reclaiming love, trust, and family bonds that no one could take away. My grandchildren now knew their grandmother's love was constant, unwavering, and unconditional. And for the first time in months, I felt truly whole again.